Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say that I'm very happy to have an opportunity to have a lecture about the health prevention in Iceland, Reykjavik today, because in the mind of many Europeans, the Iceland is linked with the health, with the longevity. But we must say that health systems in Europe, and we can say also the Western medicine nowadays are in crisis. Why? The longevity is stopped and the people spend much more years in ill health. And why? It is a very serious questions to be on the table. We must also say that healthcare systems are under control of pharma industry and also of food processing industry. The very aggressive advertisement in all media, in TV, in radio, in big billboards, advertising unhealthy lifestyle, unhealthy food. And these advertisements are focused for young children, for young people, to educate the clients for future. And it is really very bad situation. In some European countries, more than 30% of all expenses from the budget for healthcare are spent only for pharmacotherapy. The average figure in the European Union is 20%, but for example in Slovakia it is more than 30%. These figures came from one epidemiological study made in Slovakia, and this study was focused to students in teen age, and it is the figures from this study that each teenager drink in a day 2 bottles of sweet soft drinks. And the same figures are all around the Western countries. And it is the same, I think, in Iceland. And if you drink 2 bottles each day, whole year, it means you have an intake of 22 kilograms of sugar. Can you imagine this amount? You can see it in this slide. How amount of sugar it is only from drinks. The other amount came from some sweet snacks and cakes, muffins, and so on. And we must say also that we are in a struggle, in a battle with fast food chains. And these figures came from American Union of Consumers, and you can see that how high are expenses spent for advertisement for unhealthy food, and how amount it is spent from national campaign supporting 5 portions of vegetable and fruit in a day. It is inequitable. It's really very difficult. And it is a little bit fun, but we must say that sponsors, the main sponsors of obesity are the fast food chains. And this fun is that Michelangelo's David came back to Florence from stay in the USA. But we must know that our children looks like nowadays David. Of course, the professionals, the politicians know that we must do something. and the way is to have the primary prevention. Of course, pharma industry don't want to lose the consumers of many pills. And nowadays is on the table so-called primary prevention with poly pills. It is one pill in a day with mixed medicaments, anti-diabetes, aspirin, statins against dyslipidemia, and some kind of anti-hypertension drug. But I am sure that it is not primary prevention. And can you imagine how huge will be the market for the pharma industry if everyone over 50 or the 55 will take each day one pill of such a pharmacotherapy prevention. And now some figures from OECD data. For prevention, primary prevention is spent only in average 3% from all costs for healthcare. But for treatment, it is 97%. Now we know in Europe that a high number of inactive people are because ill health. And we know that only healthy population is prerequisite for economic productivity and prosperity. What are the major and chronic diseases linked with bad lifestyle? Cardiovascular diseases still number one. Then cancer, mental health problems. Each day more Europeans are suffering from depression, neurodegenerative disorders as Alzheimer, vascular dementia, Parkinson's, metabolic diseases, diabetes, a huge problem in all of the world, chronic respiratory diseases, and of course also musculoskeletal conditions as osteoporosis and osteoarthritis is also linked with the lifestyle. Here we have some World Health Organization statistic about the top 10 diseases and top 10 causes of the death. It is the same as I said it before. Some facts. Cardiovascular diseases, major cause of premature death in Europe. Cardiovascular disease is the leading cause of disability adjusted life years. And we spend from GDP around 1% for treating the cardiovascular diseases. And you see on the bottom of this slide that highest deaths are in Estonia, Lithuania, lowest in France and Portugal. Cardiovascular diseases. What are the risk factors? We know it many years from Framingham study, from 7-country study, from Interheart study, smoking, dyslipidemia. But dyslipidemia is linked with obesity, and obesity is linked with the bad lifestyle, unhealthy nutrition, physical inactivity. Very important risk factor. Also psychosocial factors, hypertension, also linked with the lifestyle, diabetes, linked with lifestyle, permanent systemic inflammatory status, also linked with obesity, and uncontrolled abuse of alcohol. Cancer, the biggest killer of people aged 45–64. 41% of all deaths in this age. 2 out from 10 deaths in women. But we know from recent research that 2/3 of all cases of cancer are preventable by avoiding key risk factors. We now know that 35% of cancers are linked with unhealthy nutrition and physical inactivity. And we are able to change it. Smoking, linked with cancer in 30% of cases. Also infection like human papillomavirus. In many countries nowadays, the young girls are vaccinated against this virus, and some type of cancer is reduced. Genetic factors, it is only 15%. And you see if your body mass index rises also that you will suffer in future by cancer. How is obesity linked with cancer? Because the medical research give us the argumentation that adipose tissue produced some cytokines which support inflammatory status in the body, and this inflammatory status is supporting developing many diseases: cancer, diabetes, neurodegenerative diseases. It is the main path how it is linked with obesity. Diabetes mellitus. We know that 90% of people suffering of diabetes type 2 are obese. And it is why we start using the new term diabesity, because it is really linked with the obesity. And if your body mass index is 35 and you are obese, the risk for the diabetes will be 93 times higher than if you have a normal body mass index. You can see it is the source is New England Journal of Medicine. How is linked the body mass index with the obesity? And here we have figures. It is dramatic global increase in diabetes. You see, you can compare 1985 and 2010. Other diseases are also linked with unhealthy lifestyle. Also, the musculoskeletal diseases like osteoarthritis, obesity, and sedentary lifestyle is linked with this disease. And what are the risk factors for obesity? Many people are asking, what are the main risk factors for obesity? The first, inactivity, little movement, little physical work, then unhealthy diet and eating habits. Much more we are eating fast food. We lost our traditional habits in eating. Big size, overportion size of meat, soft drinks, sweet soft drinks, and skipping breakfast. Then family lifestyle. Nowadays we have families, they don't cook. No Sunday, no Saturdays. They don't eat together with children, with grandfathers. We really lost the eating habits in families. Another risk factor is lack of sleep. Many people sleep short and not regularly. And also certain medications, for example, antidepressants. And we have each year much more consumers of antidepressants than medications against diabetes, steroids, beta blockers. All these medications, which are very often are linked with giving up more kilograms to our body. And also age, social and economical issues, psychological aspects, especially stress, depression, and many young people insipidity, because they don't know what to do, what will be the program, and they have a lot of time for sedentary lifestyle and the bad eating habits. And we must say that obesity is really serious illness, because, as I said before, risk of cardiovascular diseases, diabetes mellitus, and risk for cancer and musculoskeletal diseases. The other problem for modern people is supplements, because the people feel that yes, we must do something. We must protect our health. We want to be healthy. We want to have beauty, and it is why they go much more to buy the supplements of nutrition supplements. And if you see, we have here ellagic acid in tablets. It is strawberries, green tea as a tablets, resveratrol came from grape, and it is enough amount in red wine. Allicin, it is garlic. And we have supplements for everybody, for children, for very young children, for seniors, for women, for sportsmen. But it is not the way, because all these necessary phytochemicals and minerals we can have from normal food. And it is much more healthier, because in normal food we will have it in form which is absorbable, and also the amount is more suitable for the body than to combine many pills, many supplements in form of tablets. And as I mentioned before, depression will be a problem. It is estimated that in 2050, each second European will have at least one episode of depression. And in 2020, depression will be, after cardiovascular diseases, second leading cause of disability adjusted life years. It means to stay in ill health. And now, in short form, 7 risk factors for main chronic diseases. High blood pressure, and we know it is linked with lifestyle. Tobacco use, hazardous alcohol use, high cholesterol, overweight and obesity, low fruit and vegetable intake, and physical inactivity. And it is really possible to change the situation by changing our lifestyle. Last year in October in Bad Gastein in Austria, European Commissioner for the Health and Consumer Protection said that we must push more and more resources and more political gumption towards prevention. And aim for the Europe is to add 2 healthy life years to the average lifespan of Europeans. It will be great, but we must do something for it. From his speech is also a very important sentence. Instead of investing more, we need to invest better. If I can change it to the praxis, it means we must invest more to the primary prevention, and then we don't need invest more to the therapy, to the pharmacotherapy, to the high-tech operations. We must invest to the primary prevention. From his speech in the University of Siena, Italy, on 11th May this year, he told that 50% of Europeans in age 65, 75-year-old have self-reported a serious health problem. It is too much, 50%. And 20% of our lifespan is spent in ill health. It is why in my first slide mentioned that health system and Western medicine are in crisis. Here we have some data, how is the public expenses on health in each European country, and what is the average. Iceland have spent more than is European average. Another problem, aging in Europe. We were very proud in recent years that the life expectancy is rising, but now it is stopped, first time. But we don't mention if the old people live in good health conditions, if they have honest aging, and if they have selfness in this old age. And of course, prevention, primary, secondary, tertiary. We are talking too much about the prevention, but we have a lack of primary prevention. It's true. We have also the figures, data, and we know it. All practitioners in medicine know it, that we spend less time, less money to the primary prevention. And we have on the table from last year the new directive of the European Parliament and the Council on patients' rights in cross-border healthcare. I mention it here in Iceland because I think that Iceland can export the healthcare to the continental Europe, to the European Union, because of fantastic natural healing sources and because of high quality of the healthcare here in Iceland. And now I go to the spas, because I am a professional in spa business more than 30 years, and in mostly European countries the spas have very strong medical background, and the spa services are including to the health system. It is the part of the health system like hospital care or ambulatory medical care, the same conditions. What is necessary to create this medical spa is to have the local healing source, as for example local natural healing water or healing pelloids, or climatic conditions suitable for the treatment and for prevention. And in some countries, especially in Germany, also natural system of cure like Kneippkur in Germany. All these kind of spas in Europe are situated in protected spa place with high quality of environment. Only in Budapest we know that the medical spa are situated in big city, but mostly in Europe it is in a very nice and less polluted environment than we have in big cities. And what is the condition sine qua non? It is the very good medical background. It means high qualified physicians, physiotherapists, and also the other therapists, logopedists and nutritionists and so on. This type of spas is the specialty of Europe, because the American spa are more orientated to the beauty, to day programs for adventure or something like this, to the wellness, much more than in Europe. And it is why sometimes we don't understand the specialists from United States and Europeans, because we mean the rehabilitation prevention in the spa, and they mean hair studios, nail studios, and beauty studios, something like this. And what is necessary to be a medical spa? First, you must have a license from state authority that you have the conditions to offer medical services to the market, local natural healing sources, and all treatments recognized by state authority. It is why it is not allowed and it is not recognized, for example, chocolate massage or honey massage or cream massage or something like this, because it is much more to this American style, to the wellness, and we don't have evidence-based medicine results from these so-called therapies. Strong medical personnel, high qualified personnel, and also what is important, length of the stay. If you stay in the spa 3 days, it is not treatment. It is only the first contact, but it is not enough, and it is why the social and health insurances in Europe, which pay for the spa treatment, they pay for minimum 2, but normally in average for 3 weeks stay in the spa. And it is used, for example, after high-tech operations like rehabilitations in the spa. And what are these products in the common European market? As I mentioned before, spa rehabilitation, then products of tertiary prevention for chronically ill patients to promote independent life, then products of secondary prevention for risk groups. For example, if we have the obese young people, it is the risk group for some diseases. We are focused also for programs for them. And what is now very needed, it is the primary prevention with education in healthy lifestyle for young people. And prevention in spa can be multimodal behavioral interventions with health education, physical activities under control of qualified personnel, healthy nutrition and eating habits, of course, management of psychosocial factors. It is very important. And, of course, the recognition in the first stage of risk for main chronic diseases. Preventive programs in nutrition. I was very happy to have opportunity to see here in Iceland such a programs in a rehabilitation clinic. And what is important, the target is to motivate our clients to personal, individual responsibility for own health. And they can be educated during the spa stay, and then what is our target? Come home and be responsible for own health, avoiding health risk, tobacco, drugs, to have healthy nutrition, adequate exercise and rest, positive outlooks on life, and successfully manage the stress. We have tools in spas to do it. What is necessary is cooperate in research and in investigation in spa products and services, evidence-based spa medicine. And we need multi-countries studies, and we must cooperate. And I hope that we start a very strong cooperation with Icelandic specialists to promote the very sophisticated products for primary prevention to Europeans. Special conditions in Iceland. Natural mineral and thermal water is everywhere in Iceland. We can say the Iceland in a whole is a one big spa with a lot of sources and with special mineral water, silica water. I will talk a little bit about it. Peloids, many kinds of peloid, silica mud, peat, so-called moor, volcanic fungo, used, for example, in Hveragerði clinic, climatic conditions, no pollution, sea climate. Then, very important, seaweed from clear, unpolluted sea. It is the gold of the Iceland. And special, also the special plants, for example, Icelandic lichen or Iceland angelica, which is also now it is in the market. And now a little bit about the silica. First, Louis Pasteur assumed its importance in treatment of many diseases. What is important that in Japan and in Iceland, as both the volcanic country, have the mineral waters very rich of silica, about from 100 to 300 milligrams per liter. And expectancy of the life in these both countries is the highest in the world. Some researchers say that it is also linked with consuming more silica also in drinking water than in other countries. Of course, occurrence of silicium in nature is very huge, but in water soluble silicates are, as we see in this slide. This type of water is alkalic water because of the content of this silica. It is the benefits of silicium is to the blood vessels because the silicium is needed for supporting elasticity of connective tissue, also in blood vessels. Of course, silicium is linked with the healthy bones, and it is needed for better quality of cartilage, which we saw that osteoarthritis damage the cartilage of our bones. And this is very important. There we have on research some results that it is the results of experiments in rat, that if we give to rats in diet a huge amount of aluminium and less silicium, they have deposits of aluminium in the brain, which we can see also in Alzheimer's disease. But if to this diet with high content of aluminium, we give also the high content of silicium, these rats don't have deposits of aluminium in the brain. And it is why many laboratories in the world are working with this, because maybe the silicium can be one agent which can protect our brain cells. And it will be good news for us. Of course, silicium is linked with metabolism of calcium, of proline, triacylglycerides, cholesterol, collagen, glycosaminoglycans, and others. And sources of silicium in nature, we saw here the photo of horsetail plant, and you can see that horsetail tablets are in market as a protection against brain neurodegenerative diseases, because the pharma industry is very quick to answer to medical research. And we see in normal food, as eye, cow meal, beer, wine, it is much more less than in mineral waters. And you, here in Iceland, you have really rich silica water. For example, the Blue Lagoon is also the silica water, and in some places like Reykjavík, there is the amount of silica nearly 300. And what is important, that silica in this type of water is absorbable to our body. It's really very important, because if you eat the silica in the form which it is not absorbable, it is nothing. Silicium from natural mineral waters can be source for human body. The big humanist Erasmus from Rotterdam said, prevention is better than therapy. And now we can say that spa stay for health prevention is really better than be stunned by illness. And investigation to the spa therapy for the health prevention, then we can save money it is not necessary to invest more to the therapy, but we must really start, and we must really cooperate on many levels, not only on the level of medical professionals, but what is very necessary on the level of politicians in Europe, to support the primary prevention against unhealthy lifestyle, which is everywhere behind, in front, in both sides in our life.